Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. So the big shots in the swimming world, they call World Aquatics, which used to be called FINA. They made headlines last week. They announced that they're testing the waters with allowing transgender athletes in open competitions. And this news jogged my memory about Leah Thomas. You remember her? She became super famous for outpacing female swimmers and stirring up all sorts of debates. And of course, they're still ongoing. Well, World Aquatics, which is kind of the trailblazer, I guess, when it comes to setting the bar for swimming competitions worldwide. You know, we're talking Olympic level standards here, basically. They've decided Leah Thomas will not compete against biological women anymore. And of course, we all remember that Leah, who used to be known as Will Thomas, competed with guys from 2017 to 2020, and then switched lanes, best way to put it, I guess, and crushed it in the women's division, breaking 6 Ivy League records. And Leah is adamant that the success is all about skill, not about gender advantages. And this has, for obvious reasons, become an incredibly divisive topic.
I knew there would be scrutiny against me if I competed as a woman. I was prepared for that, but I also don't need anybody's permission to be myself and to do the sport that I love.
I don't know, man. Dancing around an intense debate with super vague language is just a classic move for sidestepping a real conversation. You know, everyone, Leah included, should totally embrace their true selves. And of course, you know, no one should have a problem with that at all. No one cares, but not at the expense of others' well-being and not at the expense of fair playing, you know, whether that be in sports or anywhere else. You know, Leah made waves, yes. They weren't just about swimming, but a broader discussion on trans athletes. And the core question, man, how do you juggle inclusivity with fairness for biological women? Because that does matter. That's important. And this is where the plot gets thick. You know, this is where we got introduced to Riley Gaines, you know, an NCAA swimmer from Kentucky. And she's not making splashes just in the pool. She's pretty vocal about keeping the lines clear between male and female sports, you know. And beyond her athletic abilities, she's taken the debate all the way to Capitol Hill. And she wants a clear distinction in female sports. And that is not too much to ask. You know, there's this one memorable moment from her congressional hearing where Riley tackles a popular point raised by a Democrat rep. And you guys have got to see this.
Women and some that are shorter.
You don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, you know, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female.
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Pretty good, right? So luckily, Riley is not alone. You know, she probably feels like it most of the time, but she isn't. So Caitlyn Jenner, an absolute Olympic legend and literally one of the pioneer transgender public figures, you know, they've got a lot to say about this. You know, obviously complex and confusing topic, but you'd think her stance would be pretty straightforward, but it's not. You know, even she weighed in on this last year, taking a stand against transgender women competing in female sports. And it obviously went mainstream and caused the liberal eco bubble to basically freaking melt down. And her going on Sean Hannity literally almost caused the thing to implode on itself. But what Jenner says is pretty spot on. You know, got her in a ton of freaking trouble with basically everybody, both sides, you know, both sides, basically nonstop. But before we roll this, guys, thanks to everyone who's been subscribing. Really, really appreciate your support. If you haven't already, please help us with the algorithm, help us grow. Like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share the channel.
I've said that biological boys should not play in women's sports. It is just not fair. We have to protect women's sports from something like this. Leah Thomas First of all, I respect her right to live her life authentically. Suffering from gender dysphoria is a horrible lifelong struggle, and every story is different. Let me tell you, Sean, I know that one. And I respect her right to do that. But with that comes some responsibility and integrity in what you're doing.
Yeah, so now that the dust has settled, the daily virtue signalers, they got more pressing issues to use for their internet virtue signals and all that stuff. But real conversations are actually starting to happen on this topic, especially concerning, locker room dynamics. A woman named Paula Scanlon, former swimmer and teammates with Thomas, opened up about her experience. Paula mentioned how tough it was for her, having gone through a traumatic assault when she was just 16 years old, to share a locker room space with someone she identified as biologically male with her own eyes. And she shared, that every time she'd hear Leah Thomas in the locker room, it would take her back to a traumatic episode. And it's heartbreaking, really. Even more heartbreaking was the way that this woman was treated after sharing her story and her feelings. It was a real woman being treated in real vicious ways by ghouls who do not care about anything but agenda. And it appears to me, man, we're at a place where we're not really concerned with the psychological well-being of women or anything about women or their comfort. We don't care, as long as we can virtue signal. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that.
My teammates and I were forced to undress in the presence of Leah, a 6'4" tall biological male, fully intact with male genitalia, 18 times per week. Some girls opted to change in bathroom stalls, and others used the family bathroom to avoid this. When we tried to voice our concerns to the athletic department, we were told that Leah's swimming and being in our locker room was a non-negotiable, and we were offered psychological services to attempt to re-educate us to become comfortable with the idea of undressing in front of a male.
So, what's kind of wild, man? The same folks who are super vocal about rights and respecting feelings, they always seem to overlook the genuine concerns of athletes and women like Paula. She's been through real tough times, and for some reason that doesn't matter. That's not important. Riley Gaines, the swimmer, she was on with Bill Maher and even mentioned Leah Thomas. And another swimmer is really tall, apparently. Just imagine being a young woman having to change clothes beside Leah, who's literally 6'4" with obvious physical strength. And, let's set aside the hormone and puberty talk just for a second. Just her height alone gives her a massive edge in swimming. Longer limbs mean better form, more momentum. And just for perspective, man, she's taller than 99% of the women in the United States, in the whole country. But, it feels like, these discussions, sometimes they get buried, man, under this giant umbrella of equality and inclusion. And really, the people left dealing with the complexities, they're not the virtue signals, they're women. Women are the ones who got to deal with this stuff on the daily. And, basically just, we've left them to fend for themselves. And like any hot topic, the left wants to silence you, because silencing you is a whole hell of a lot easier than hearing what you have to say and responding in any reasonable way. So Leah, labeled those questioning this as misogynist, even when many are actual true feminists advocating for actual women's rights. It's crazy. You cannot make this stuff up. But, we've gone full circle, especially in female sports. And this is just one aspect. There seem to be other spaces where women are feeling the squeeze, but anyway, guys, this is a topic that can go on forever. And I'm actually sure that it will go on forever. But I just figured I'd share this little flashback with you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the Common Sense Garage. We'll see you in the next one.